The temperature is rising, the pressure and tension is rising. Marc Marquez, 2017, 2018 and 2019. He was our race winner right here on home turf. Can Pecco Bagnaia end?
Every single time it's eluded him. He's playing down his chances a bit yesterday, but I think they're more nerves than anything else. He doesn't want to jinx himself.
Today, Pecco Bagnaia's day.
We're warming up to the warm-up lap here in Aragon, a 23-lap race.
Relaxed, isn't he, Pecco Bagnaia, arms folded, face of pure concentration.
Here's your front row then, for the throw. Starts third. Thriller Miller in second. Can he get himself back on the podium for the first time since Catalunya? Will he win? Or will it be this time in MotoGP?
Who can sprinkle some magic at Motorland Aragon. On pole position for the second time in 2021, factory Ducati rider. So Jack Miller goes from second, ahead of World Championship leader Fabio Quartararo in third. Keep an eye on Marc Marquez, the anti-clock from the middle of that front row. The third row features the world champion Joan Mir, Pol Espargaro, and a season best qualifying and an outstanding rookie year for Gami, ahead of his 200th Grand Prix start. Brad Binder also goes from row 4. Keep an eye on Alex Marquez on the podium here last year, of course, ahead of his factory, a brilliant debut here in Aragon.
13,500 fans here in northeastern Spain. Is it me, Matt?
The sphere. I don't know why, but yeah, there is sort of a special feeling in the air, like we're going to get treated to a real epic.
Any rider can win. That's just how good they are. Is it Marc Marquez to return? Of course, he wasn't here last year. He's unbeaten in
day, and he overtakes the great Christian Saron as the most successful Frenchman in terms of Premier class podiums. So not.
Jack Miller was getting fired up on the grid, punching his chest as ever. He then took a look round behind.
Well, the competition was wide open last time in Silverstone. 6 manufacturers in the top 6 places for the first time since the
Championship. Regardless as to what happens today, Quartararo will take a big lead into Misano next week. But can these guys claw anything back off Bagnaia as well, getting some heat into those discs before we go racing? Here is the World Championship leader, Fabio Quartararo.
A factory Ducati rider, has not won from pole position since Andrea Dovizioso did it in Brno 3 years ago, back in 2018.
The Tissot Grand Prix of Aragon. Lights out, and away we go. Good start from the two Ducatis. Look at Martin coming through.
As well, so Miller drops back to third. Now then, Marc Marquez straight into attack mode, trying to find a way through quickly on the poleman Pecco Bagnaia, who leads.
Isn't he? Aleix Espargaro is up to 4th ahead of Quartararo, and then it's Mir.
Yeah, that was just the start that Aleix Espargaro wanted. Somebody was out wide there coming through. Turn 7. Quartararo has the inside line though, down to reverse corkscrew though. No, he gets his nose wiped on that front down. He crashed out in Aragon 2 here last year as well, didn't he? So Pecco Bagnaia making the early headway, and a hobble away, unfortunately, for LCR Honda.
Binder, who's made up 3 places already.
Yeah, and losing 3 places already is Fabio Quartararo on the front row in 3rd place. He's been nudged back. Good first lap, have had there exactly what they wanted. Aleix Espargaro and Joan Mir in 4th and 5th place.
Jorge Martin up the inside of Polish.
Through on Quartararo as well there through turn 17. The last 2 corners have been weak points all weekend for Fabio Quartararo, and he's going backwards at the moment.
Fabio Quartararo. Alex Rins then has made up 5 places. He's into 15th, but he's got a long way to go to get anywhere near 3rd. Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia 4th. On board now with Marc Marquez further back.
Kuona has been strong as well from 13th. He picked up 3 places to get himself inside the top 10. Nakagami's going the wrong way, and so 5 places from 20th. He's already in the points in 15th.
Jake Dixon, unfortunately, has crashed out. He'd made a good start.
Rossi down into turn 14 then on lap number 2. But it's Pecco Bagnaia, the poleman, that has the advantage. You know, now wide time.
5 riders that have been mentioned a lot over the last 24 hours are all in the top 5 as Binder now goes through on Quartararo. Then he's down to 8.
Completely the wrong way in a MotoGP battle. Binder's going to give it back to him on the brakes into the first corner. That's going to be tight.
That is tight. That's very. Marquez out front. Nicola Kuona is hot on the heels of Brad Binder as well. He's expecting a top 10 of himself here today.
Put it back now down to about half a second. Mir at the moment's not been able to show Aleix Espargaro the front wheel of that Suzuki GSX-RR. Those still
throws out the anchor into turn 1 out front. That's the gap from the helicopter view. Bagnaia leads from Repsol. how this race might pan out. The latter stages are crucial.
Marquez closes right up on Bagnaia on the brakes down the hill into turn 12. Two men had great pace on well-worn soft rear tyres. Bagnaia versus Marquez. That's how a lot of people thought it would pan out early.
With Marc Marquez, he crashed here early in the weekend on Friday afternoon around turn 17. He's left-hand hero, number 93.
Jack Miller has just set the fastest lap of the race. Marquez held it briefly, but Miller has found some.
A few riders further back, Pol Espargaro has dropped down to 12th. Iker Lecuona's up ahead of Bindenau into 8th. Good job from
beckoning for Iker Lecuona. An outstanding job for him though in 8th spot right now. Maverick Vinales on the factory Aprilia. Well, he's down in 19th.
Named after Marc Marquez, he's in 2nd, chasing Bagnaia. He's in a factory Ducati sandwich as Jack Miller just pinches a half.
Very, very fast indeed. Zarco's dropped down to 14th place now.
Yeah, it didn't get a good start, and it's not got any better. 3 or 4 tenths back to Aleix Espargaro, Joan Mir and Jorge Martin, and then another gap back to Fabio Quartararo, who's losing time.
48.6, which was only a whisker slower than Bagnaia. It's just now, of course, he's got to try and find his way back onto this lead battle without
TM rider who comes into this with 2 top 8 finishes in his back pocket. And now Bastianini is in 10th.
I suppose the jury's out.
He's moved up 8 places from 20th on the grids.
Yeah, I suppose the jury's out on Rins' prospects about how much further he can overstress maybe that rear tyre, overheat it in these hot ambient temperatures, hot track conditions as well, particularly on the left side when you come drive grip as well. So that may well be a problem that Alex Rins encounters late on.
Bagnaia so far so good, but there's at the end of races traditionally in 2020 is 5th overall ahead of Martin.
Yeah, it's as you were, isn't it, really, right from the opening clear tyre up and have nothing left when you really need it in those last 4 or 5 laps.
You feel like it's a bit of a poker match at the moment. No one really showing their cards.
Just game of chess, isn't it, at the moment? A very high-speed game of chess at that. Here comes Iker Lecuona. Thought about a look up the inside of Fabio Quartararo as a MotoGP rider. Brilliant start to this Grand Prix, but Lecuona 13th to 8th. It might be 7th pretty soon. That's not your optimum line through turn 1, Danilo.
Bagnaia is just up another 10th in sector 1, but his teeth stuck in the World Championship leader.
Fingers in the ears for Zarco fans right now, I'm afraid. He's just been picked up by Miguel Oliveira. Now he's down into 15th place. I just wonder whether as well, she's been talking about a chronic problem with arm pump. I just wonder whether that's a contributing factor as well. But they're in these hot work, but whether it's the front tyre, the arm pump, a combination of the two, it's just not working for Zarco at the moment.
Yeah, there are 2 men that know each other pretty well.
Pitching this scenario at the start of the season in Aragon, Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi fighting it out for 19th place.
Build a bit of a gap. They are over Jack Miller in 3rd. He's 6 tenths adrift of Marc Marquez at the moment. Marc is just being informed of very fast lap indeed from Marc Marquez.
Yeah, trying to stretch then the likes of Miller, Aleix Espargaro and Mir, who've been 3rd, 4th, 7th last time out in Silverstone with a rousing charge through the pack, and he's repeating that here today. Awesome.
Less than a 10th off for Pecco Bagnaia.
Well, Pecco Bagnaia is famed, isn't he, Steve, for being this ice-cool character, but he's never been in this situation.
Close quarters with Marc Marquez, really not very often, if at all, in 2021.
Normally, it's win beckoning, and for company, right on your rear tyre, is a certain 8 times world champion, one of the best we've ever seen. This is the recent performances of Iker Lecuona, the top 6 after a great ride in that rain-hit Austrian Grand Prix, and then 7th last time out in Silverstone.
3 left-handers that Marc Marquez makes on Pecco Bagnaia. Is he going to line up a move into turn 1? Is he close enough? No, not quite.
They're again a couple of tenths quicker than his teammate Pecco Bagnaia.
Board with Marc Marquez, 2nd gear, trying to find a way past the normally unbreakable Pecco Bagnaia. Did not expect to see this from the Frenchman today.
Not at all. He wasn't many people's pick for the race victory. He had big doubts himself about Bastianini, so it could get even worse for the World Championship leader. Bastianini's got a 2nd advantage on Nakagami. He's coming under pressure as well now, Steve. In the groove, front tyre pressure went through the roof, didn't it?
Correct,
and I just wonder whether that's a similar problem here today.
Yeah, well remembered, That Pecco Bagnaia. Now watch this, if we stay on board, watch how much time Marc Marquez makes into these left-handers. He's so quick through.
He's got the tighter inside line here. The Yamaha will turn better than that 2-year-old Ducati in the final sector, but this is a bit of a demoralising
rivals to claw back some big points in the World Championship as well.
Well, Bastianini is obviously right on his case. Not a million miles further back. Have it all on here with 15 laps to go to keep himself inside this top 10.
65-point lead he had at the start of the day. At the moment, if the flag went out, it would be still just a couple of tenths really between Bagnaia and Marc Marquez 1 and 2. Miller's still there in third with Aleix Espargaro for company.
Basically gave up on him, chronic arm pump. He hasn't got arm pump in this race, we don't think. I just wonder whether, having dropped back in that group, whether it is something to do with normal Fabio Quartararo of 2021.
Bagnaia and Marquez are a cut above the rest at present. 8 laps gone, soon to be 9 laps gone. There are 7.
And Joan Mir, having quickly got into 4th and 5th after really good starts and then good first laps, I've just been kind of stuck there. A bit of a conundrum for Espargaro and Mir to work out.
El Diablo being given the information roads.
And he's one rider, Bastianini likewise, who you pointed out this weekend before, haven't you, Steve? Those two, normally super strong.
Race victory for Miller, Espargaro, Aleix, that is, and Joan Mir are slipping away a bit. They're now 1.5 seconds back on Bagnaia and Marquez.
Been a happy hunting ground, Aragon, for Valentino Rossi, and it's not going to be a fond farewell to this famous 5-kilometre circuit for the now, so he's about 1.5 seconds off the pace of these two, are still making the headway at the front.
If you're just tuning in now, the early crash for Alex Marquez, 17th place finish at the moment.
He loves that 17th place, doesn't he? Yeah, he loves that 17th, does Cal. Now the Nika Lekawona, Martin himself just cannot get on par with Mir ahead of him. That gap's about 1.6 seconds.
And Marquez, there's another 48.5 from Bagnaia. He's responded well. Mir is also in the 48s. He's the only other rider in the 48s at the moment.
Maiden first victory in the Premier class, but if it goes as is right now, he'll be seizing back 2nd place in the World Championship too.
That it's between these two. I mean, they are breaking out a big gap to the guys further back, but there is going to be a moment where grip gone.
Normally he's had it all his own way. It's so good, as we mentioned, on circuits that are predominantly left-handed. He sweeps through the corner that's named after Piero Caramasso, Michelin Motorsport boss, said there'll be a drop-off from about lap 15 onwards. We're not at that point yet, but Reggie
Fabio Quartararo is 9th, a second off now. Brad Binder falling into the hands quickly of Bastianini and Taka Nakagami. Your right movement's further forward now. Keep an eye on Joan Mir's lap time here. Oh, wide, look up ahead. Jack Miller, where's he off to? He's almost in Alcaniz.
16, but it's been a costly off-track excursion for the Australian. So through with no effort. Aleix Espargaro
48s. Just running out of track. Jack Miller around that last corner. Place. Whilst we're looking here at Pecco Bagnaia in the background there, you can see the blue blur. Joan Mir is up into 3rd.
Great job, 3 seconds behind Marc Marquez, who's only a couple of tenths behind Bagnaia.
Oh, there you see.
It might be just as you can see on the TV, you know, how it's playing out, but I've got a feeling, and it might be more to with right at the end, if you haven't managed it well, you won't just lose 1 second a lap, you'll lose.
Good point, and we have seen massive drops in the past here in Aragon. I'm going to keep my eye firmly fixed on from that unknown territory.
Yeah, Mir did say yesterday it was always going to be in these hot conditions. It feels like it's the hottest conditions. There can be a big drop as well, and that big drop could be by well over 1 second. So he'll be hoping that the rear tyres at 0.3 seconds. He's going to need something significant to happen to the tyre performance of those two ahead of him.
We're on board with Marc Marquez looking at Bagnaia. If you want to keep an eye on Bastianini and Taka Nakagami closing in on him.
Do you know what? He's doing a remarkable job, isn't he, Fabio Quartararo, of defending that 9th place. See everybody else coming into contention, because behind Nakagami there's a big gap of almost 3.5 seconds. Well, it is over 3.5 seconds now.
4 they have owned, but then Marc Marquez will close up into these left-handers on the brakes. Here we go. Bastianini is at last through, but he's a little bit wide, and Quartararo on the cutbacks trying to get back involved. Nakagami's there to pick up the pieces. Should it go wrong? This is
for 9th place, and it's back in the hands of Fabio Quartararo. Nakagami. Quartararo was in hot there, wasn't he? Try back in 11th because Nakagami sweeps through. Nakagami now up into 10th.
Fantastic stuff, fantastic. Nakagami then has got his eyes on. And as these guys on screen now have shown all weekend, they're just happy in these 148s. They're comfortable, and they've put another 4 tenths into me and Bastianini there.
I think Taka Nakagami might be wearing a bit of Michelin rubber right now.
proper tank slapper on the approach to turn 12.
God, if only he was pushing, Anea Bastianini. Absolutely awesome to watch.
Jorge Martin's in a spot.
Hervé Poncharat made a great point talking to Simon Crayfire this morning. Since he knew that he was out of a ride in Tech 3 KTM next year, it's almost like 6th, 7th, and now on course for another top 6. Brilliant performance, this.
Yeah, he might be on his way. These two are doing Fabio Quartararo a bit of a favour.
Yeah, I was going to say that they're doing each other no favours at all, are they, here? Because while they battle and swap...
Yeah, number 63 looking for his first ever MotoGP victory in his 42nd attempt, and Marc Marquez looking for this record.
Much faster as well than anybody else. They're still exchanging 48.7s, everybody else in the 49s. In fact, Martin and these two now, we're on the lap. This is lap 15, where we've got to keep a very close eye on the lap times, because this was the pre-race onwards.
Yeah, they don't look in trouble so far, do they?
No.
But there's still a little way to go in this one, in Aragon.
How many times a tough battle with Andrea Dovizioso. It's the new breed, though, for Bologna that are taking the fight to Marc Marquez this time around. In our chalked off now, it's all about your speed, but more importantly, your tyre management as well.
Still in the 48.6s, though, the pair of them. Ducati have come off second best to Marc Marquez on more than a few occasions. The last 2 visits for Marc Marquez, he beat Dovi.
87 minutes of racing action, so he's armed with a wealth of knowledge of exactly what the Ducati man's strengths and weaknesses.
I believe that there'd be 2 factory Ducatis there with Marquez, and if Mir got a good start, he'd be there. For his awesome riding, but for Aprilia to build a machine that can run with any motorcycle in the world now.
Yeah, here. It's under 0.6 of a second down on Joan Mir at the moment, about halfway around this lap number 16.
On board with Sol Honda man going to be victorious. There's the famous wall. He had a
1:48.9 from Bagnaia, a 1:48.9 likewise from Marquez. The battle for the podium behind them, actually Mir third place to under 0.4 of a second. Game on as Aprilia go for their second successive podium.
through turn 5.
Mir is fast with him after that mistake at turn 17. 3 or 4 laps ago, he slipped 1.5 seconds now behind Aleix Espargaro. Brad Binder.
Further back, Brad Binder and Iker Lecuona have both got past Jorge Martin, then our 6th.
Quartararo. He's now leapt right onto the back wheel of the Frenchman yet again.
What's happened to Lecuona? He was 7th a moment ago and he's just dropped down to 10th.
In way too hot then into turn number 8.
Oh, that's a shame. It's looking like a really good ride, that. Down the back straight we go.
Yeah, and at the moment, there's no obvious visual sign that either of them are hitting any sort of rear tyre grip problems, are they, at the moment?
Again, Mir pretty much matched their time, so no advantage being made there.
There's been a few times Marquez has lost epic last lap battles against a factory Ducati. He will not want history to repeat itself here.
This is new territory for both. Bagnaia under intense pressure from the 8-time world champion Marc Marquez.
Marquez just fascinating, intriguing to see how this will unfold over the next 5 laps or so. They drop down the hills.
Dropping down the hill into turn 14. Flick it left to 15, and this is the place into 8. That's a vital added point for him.
Well, Marquez did say pre-race he wasn't worried about fatigue or stamina where he's at right now, but he has not been able to pressure Pecco Bagnaia into one small mistake. Bagnaia nailed up well.
Mir and Aleix Espargaro are going to tussle it out for the remaining podium place here. They cannot eat into the gap to the 2 men out front.
It's going to be a very lonely 5th, as we mentioned, for the Thriller Miller.
It's difficult to see here, isn't it, as to whether or not Marc Marquez is keeping towards the reverse corkscrew again. Turns 8, turns 9.
Well, I don't think there's been a lap at all in this Grand Prix where through turn 10 those Michelin tyres on that left side now will be crying for mercy at this stage of the race. We are deep now into the phase.
There'll be so many emotions. Marc Marquez, though, does like breaking a heart or two, and he is right on his tail again as they go around turn.
Johann Zarco, a quick check on him, he's dropped down to 17th place now. So Cal Crutchlow no longer in that 17th place, which has been his demand.
Very strong in sector 1. Turns 3, 4, 5, that could be an option for him.
Well, we saw him top FP1, even Gigi Dell'Igna, the normally super cool, relaxed Gigi Dell'Igna, twitchy in the seat, isn't he?
Oh, is it coming here?
A couple of times, work out how good he is through 3 and maybe look up the inside of Bagnaia late on into turn 4.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised at all. You can just see in the bottom left
for it, but His patience rewarded, all that hard work now. Then Marquez, he could almost reach out now and grab that rear.
Move here into turn 12, no, there's a few dress rehearsals coming here.
You can just see though how hard Bagnaia was having to force. 3 laps and a couple of corners remaining. Turn 15 here now on lap number 20, and it's still the poleman, Pecco Bagnaia.
He has been on previous laps now. If he's quick enough around 16 and 17 coming up here, there could be a move coming into turn 1 with 3 laps to go. Turn 1, oh, but not on this occasion.
You see, Bagnaia can just get that better drive grip coming over the hill with a power of the Ducati. Now then Marquez.
He is, here he comes. Here is it coming now. We're on board with Marquez. We flick it left. No. Is he waiting? Oh, here he comes. He's
up the inside of Bagnaia, then into turn 5. We're all set up for a grandstand finish here in Motorland Aragon. Marquez then has made his...
He's there. He's trying to put the Italian under some intense pressure here.
Through this famous left-hander, which is named enough. No, again, Bagnaia is so good. So much confidence and trust in that Ducati front end. He keeps Marquez at bay into 12.
Tries the block pass this time into turn 15, but again on the cutback, here comes Bagnaia.
You see what Marquez did there, it just compromised his
18 and 17 and again, and this time he will be close enough to make another move and maybe lead into turn 1.
Marquez then on this current lap, it's enough on the brakes into the first corner.
Cannot do it. 2 laps remain in Aragon. Is he going to have another look here now into turn 3? The move? No, he's not close enough.
Now then, will he lunge again at turn 5? He did it on the previous lap.
Yep.
He does. Yeah, he's going for it. On board with Marquez, from Marquez. And on each occasion, Bagnaia's come straight back at him.
Bagnaia slams the door shut on his fingers.
This is hit some late trouble. He's down the 150s now, and all of a sudden out of nowhere dropped 2.5 seconds behind the Suzuki man. A lonely third. At the moment, Bagnaia's been so good down the hill into that tricky braking zone. No way through for Marquez.
Will he try again here? Bagnaia goes back through again. This is incredible drama.
Lap 21, turns 5 and turns 15. Marquez went for it. Lap 20
is because as they round turn 16 and now they round turn 17, it is the final lap of the race. It's all on the line. Is it
punishing that front end on the Repsol Honda? And it's
that he says.
The 5th move, and he still hasn't been able to keep Bagnaia behind him. Unreal drive.
Close enough through 3 or 4. He does it again into 5.
Can he this time around do it? No, he can't.
What a race, what a battle. Bagnaia on the Ducati, Marquez on the Repsol Honda. It's all on the line. How many more stabs?
The run down the back straight or turn 15. 6 times he's tried, 6 times he's failed. Is it attempt number 7 coming up?
He's wide, and that might be it. That might well be it from Marc Marquez. 7 attempts, and it's not lucky number 7. Bagnaia, though, doesn't.
Marc Marquez has thrown everything that Pecco Bagnaia, but he's 2 corners away from a famous first victory in MotoGP.
And 17, the checkered flag is out. The wait is finally over. We've witnessed a cracker here in Aragon. Bagnaia is a MotoGP on. Joan Mir finishes 3rd ahead of Aleix Espargaro, and Miller takes 5th. Bastianini 6th place. What a ride!
Incredible MotoGP race, a memorable Motorland Aragon scrap. Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez jousted it. 7 attempted overtakes from Marc Marquez in that battle. 7 times he thought he got through on Pecco.
Exactly. That's the thing. He's done it in Marquez's backyard. And what a way to win your first ever MotoGP race against the 8-time.
Oh, this has been
amazing.
coming. Valentino Rossi knows the sweet sensation of winning a MotoGP race. He knows the sweet sensation of.
Great respect there from Marc Marquez shown to Pecco Bagnaia. Well, he knows what he's made of now. He knows he's made of tough stuff. Bagnaia will be over the moon. He is down there with Simon now.
He is, Davide. I was so nervous. Pecco looked so good. I thought Marc.
Even knew that he was very on the limit, and he can be